Infrastructure Committee, John Mica.
The gentleman from Florida is recognized for such time as he may consume.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and I thank our chairman of the Aviation Subcommittee, Mr. Petri, for his leadership. Also, Mr. Costello, who formerly chaired the committee and now is the ranking member. I want to thank him for his dedication to our nation's aviation system, safety, and also Mr. Rahal. You couldn't ask for better partners. Mr. Rahal is the Democrat leader of the committee, and we have a great working relationship. And we've had a great working relationship to try to move forward legislation like a long-term reauthorization of FAA and other major transportation legislation that's been mired in delay. And quite frankly, my colleagues, I find myself very frustrated being here. Now, this is the 21st extension. I compliment it, and don't let me not compliment the staff on both sides. We have great professionals that deal with this. The Congress is fortunate, the nation's blessed to have the kind of leadership we have with staff working on these important issues to move what accounts for about 8 to 9% of our GDP. That's the aviation industry forward, setting the policy, the programs, the funding formula, all those things. These folks are responsible for, and they're good stewards of that responsibility. So I thank them in advance. And I also want to thank Senator Rockefeller, Mr. Speaker, and others who have worked with us trying to bring this to a conclusion. Kay Bailey Hutchinson, the ranking Republican on the Senate side, worked in good faith to try to get this, this unexcusable delay in passing long-term reauthorization. So that being said, again, I find myself so frustrated. This is the 21st delay. We have a former chairman of the subcommittee, Mr. Costello. Mr. Petri now chairs it. He's been active on this. I was chairman for 6 years of the subcommittee, all wanting to do the same thing, and that's move forward with reauthorization. The irony of this is I chaired the subcommittee on aviation in 2003 when we wrote the last reauthorization, and we did that in some 6 months, and there were controversial provisions. That 4-year bill expired in 2007. We have not passed a reauthorization, even when the other side had humongous numbers in this chamber and control of the other body. At one point, I think 60 votes to get something done. Nothing was done. 17 extensions under their watch. And quite frankly, I'm embarrassed that this is the 4th extension. But I'm trying to do in 6 or 7 months what couldn't be done in almost 5 years. And we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done one way or the other. Now, we have also done 3 what they call clean extensions to move this process forward. And we did need some time, and you have to be reasonable because this is a new Congress. The other body passed, the Senate in February, their bill. We passed the first day in April our legislation, and here we find ourselves on the 4th again, extension, which is regrettable. And all this, I say, my colleagues, could be resolved, I think, in a matter of an hour. There's been great work in discussions, informal discussions, in what we call pre-conference, where some of the principals get together and discuss the terms. All these issues are not new. Mr. Costello and I, Mr. Oberstar and I, we had discussed this. In fact, I think the other body took up the pending legislation from last time. My goodness, it was pending for 48 months. So there are no new issues here. But again, we find ourselves stalled in the process. That being said, I call on the members to pass this extension. This is a clean extension, except for one change, and it has 2 parts. The first part, it deals with essential air service. That's the program that underwrites, again, routes for air service from local communities. This is a program that started at about $50 million a decade ago and now is approaching $200 million. We had a vote here in the House and we decided to sunset that program, I guess with the exception of two of our exceptional states, Hawaii and Alaska, who have some unique geographic limitations on service. But the other body passed a provision, the Senate passed a provision that would eliminate service based on distance. I think it's 90 miles, and it affected some 10 communities. And Mr. Speaker, I'd ask unanimous consent to insert in the record at this point the 10 communities affected.
Without objection.
Okay. So this is language that the other body passed, and we are including. Now, I've made one exception, and it affects 3 airports, 3 states, Nevada, Montana, and New Mexico. And the provision I put in is that no state or no airport operation that has service where the subsidy exceeds $1,000 a ticket can receive that subsidy. I don't think that's unreasonable. When we're here, we've got from now until the beginning of August to get our nation's finances together. I want to see folks come down here and vote to continue subsidies for more than 1,000. One of these subsidies, and I won't state the state, but you can figure it out, is $3,719 per passenger. That's obscene when our country's on the verge of debt crises and disaster. So if I have to take the entire reauthorization and we continue, now this extends through the 16th of September. I'm putting everybody on notice that each time we will pass reauthorization if we have to do it extension by extension. So we're starting with this small part of what the other body has passed, and I'm adding what I think is a reasonable provision. $1,000 subsidy in itself is almost obscene if you ask the average member of Congress. In fact, when I went to the Rules Committee, one of the members on the other side of the aisle was stunned that we were paying those kinds of fees. Now, don't come here and tell me that we don't legislate on extensions. In fact, the other body put an entire bill of regional safety legislation on one of the past 17 extensions. So we've done this before. We need to work together on this. I would implore members of both sides of the aisle to support this, because this is in the people's interest. This has to move forward. I don't know of any other mechanism. I certainly am not going to allow this fiasco to continue. And certainly I don't want the FAA to close down at midnight on Friday night. And that won't happen. Essential services will continue. Air traffic controllers will be at their jobs. There may be some people furloughed, but it is not my fault. It will be the responsibility of the other body who does not take this up and pass it. They will be furloughing people and putting people out of jobs. And if you want to see people work, then let's pass the FAA bill. It has the next generation air traffic control provisions. It has safety provisions in here that are long overdue. So, again, I'm a bit frustrated. I want the best for the nation. I want the best for our air traffic control system, our aviation system, and people, thousands of people who depend, not just working in the federal government, but in this important industry, to move forward. So that's my say at this point. Again, I'm so disappointed, but we're going to find one way. I may not be the most powerful member, I may not be the most intelligent member, I may not be the highest ranking member, but I'll tell you what, I am a persistent member, and we will pass reauthorization one way or another, and we're going to get it done. So I appreciate everyone's indulgence in working with me on this project. I'll yield my time back at this point.